Good morning, everybody. We are expecting some strong storms to hit the United States today, with damaging winds, hail, and a few tornadoes are all possible. Let's look into it. This is the SPC outlook, guys. You can see this SPC outlook includes a slight risk, 2 slight risks, in parts of Michigan, also parts of Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Minnesota are all in this slight risk. There's also marginal risk that stretches all the way from the Midwest down to the Ohio valleys. You can see on the right side of your screen. There's also a 5% tornado risk that is in South Dakota and North Dakota. It's a pretty small area. It's a pretty small 5% area, but there is a chance for a few tornadoes that are possible. There's also a hatch 15% wind risk. So, looks like a high wind threat, mostly. The tornado threat is decent, so there probably will be a few tornadoes. There is a 15% area that is in South Dakota, North Dakota, and some of Nebraska. There's also 50% in the Michigan area where the slight risk is. There's also 15% hatched hail risk. And basically, in the exact same area, there's a wind risk, except for there isn't one in Michigan. The hail risk is only in Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, and also even some of Kansas. Looks like this might be in this little bit of 5% hail risk. But the main threat today looks like wind and hail, but there is a chance for a few tornadoes to be possible. Let's go look at the models. Here's what HRRR is showing. This is the reflectivity for later today. You can see up here by around late tonight, early afternoon hours, you can see some supercell starting up. Looks like it will be mostly a nighttime risk. See most of these storms start popping up later in the afternoon and nighttime hours. You can see some supercells starting up. See, there's at least one supercell starting up already. It does become a QLCS threat later on. Main tornado risk looks like it is at this time when the supercells are starting up. Looks like it will be the main risk is when they're first starting up and they're not in a line, a QLCS line. Then they'll be the strongest and more tornadic. But there still is a chance. Looks like tomorrow might be a high day too. Strong storm day too. I'll probably make a video on that too. But see some storms starting up right here. These supercells, even into Canada. See supercell starting up, that eventually turn to a line. It does dissipate, that does go away after a little bit. Looks like mainly a wind and hail threat, and tornado risk is pretty low, but still possible when these supercells are first starting off. Let's go look at the Cape. Here's what the Cape is looking like, guys. You can see some 3,000, 4,000 Cape in here. You can even see some 5,000 plus Cape areas in this storm. So it looks like if the cap can break, there will be very strong storms firing off. The models aren't showing much of the cap breaking, but maybe a couple supercells are possible, but they mostly just turn to a line. But if this cap breaks, you can see these strong storms developing today, late tonight, around 8 to 10 p.m. Let's go look at the bulk shear. Here's the bulk shear, guys. So you can see into late tonight. You can see some 40 KT areas in the bulk shear, which is good, which is what you need for rotating storms usually. See late tonight and into the early morning tomorrow. Usually some 40 plus KT, which is what we need for these storms to be rotating. Rotating storms need to have at least 40 KT usually 40 knots. Let's go look at the Supercell composite. Supercell composite does start up late tonight, where the storms are starting off. You see them 33 in the Supercell composite late tonight. So today looks like mostly a wind and hail threat, and if this cap breaks, just like what happened last time, those strong storms, this isn't going to happen like last time, but there will be very strong storms if this cap breaks. This is a significant tornado parameter. See some high numbers in there. Some 4s and 4s plus in there. Significant tornado parameter. Anything higher than 1 is usually concerning. If you can see late night hours, it's going to be the main risk. So 8 to 10 p.m. looks like it. Maybe some afternoon storms later on. Not much of a tornado threat. There is some, but not much of a tornado threat. Let's go see if there's any trough or anything. Here is the 500 millibyte. Here is the 500 MB height wind. You can see this little bit of a trough, this mid-level trough going through these areas where there is a slight risk for today. Also going through Michigan today. Late night hours, there's some 42 knots areas in this trough that is moving through South Dakota and North Dakota into tomorrow. Still is a trough. So those high swing I was looking at tomorrow. See some of these storms roll in. Let's go look and see if there's a cold front or anything. There is a low pressure system that you can see is right over South Dakota and North Dakota. Up until Sunday, there's a low pressure system that is sitting over here. Will cause some strong storms. This for today. You can see the pressure system is right in Dakota. Okay, so today, guys, looks like mostly a wind and a hail threat, but there is a chance for a tornado if the supercells can actually fire off. There's one thing I want to do before I end the video. I'm going to go look at our Rufus. Let's go look at that real quick. Let's see what Rufus is showing for storms firing off. Rise. This is the reflectivity on Rufus, or RRWS. Sorry, RRFS. Sorry. See this line of storms later on tonight. Let's go look at for just overall today. It shows the storms a little bit higher, up into mostly North Dakota. Is where these supercells will be. You see all these supercells trying to fire off. This looks like right here could be possibly a discrete supercell. So basically, if these storms fire off and the cells can become discrete and stay discrete for a little bit, they could produce a tornado. Mainly wind and hail threat, 15% hash wind and hail risk. There's a 5% tornado risk, so it's possible for a few tornadoes. But if you guys enjoyed, and you guys want to have weather updates always when there is severe weather for you, make sure you like, subscribe, or follow if you're watching on TikTok. Make sure if you are watching TikTok, you also subscribe or like this video on the YouTube. Same with YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, if you have TikTok, make sure you like and follow on there too. Thanks for watching.